Are you trying to figure out how to retire, how to survive throughout retirement, and it just seems like a big maze? In this episode, we talk about the peace of mind pathway. It is a guide to help you get to and through retirement. You want to listen to this episode if you are thinking about retirement at all.
We hope you've been enjoying all the episodes from Secure Your Retirement. If you'd like to keep learning and receiving these episodes, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you receive alerts when they come out. We've helped thousands of listeners get on the path to securing their retirement. Now it's your turn. Let's dive in.
Welcome to Secure Your Retirement Podcast. We are very happy to talk with you today and kind of go through a topic that is really, I think, very special to myself and Merce because it's really helped us to clarify two individuals that are looking at trying to figure out retirement in a nice, clear, concise way. And we call this this process, we call it the peace of mind pathway. Now, what we're going to do is over the next 3 episodes, so this one and 2 more episodes, we're going to take you through the components of this. But I want to kind of set it up first so you can understand what we're trying to create from a word picture so that it comes to you and you go, okay, I understand why they're calling it this. Because quite honestly, I've been doing this for 25 years. You get into this retirement conversation and there's so many things that have to get looked at and it's overwhelming. And so we really wanted to try to break things down in such a way that people could understand it. I will tell you this, just as a side note, we feel it's so special and in understanding this and helping people have peace of mind, because that's the result we've seen, that right now, Merce and I are in the final editing phase of a book that we have written all about the pathway. It's explaining it from A to Z. So we kind of wanted to do this as a precursor. We've been working so hard on the book. We thought, hey, why not do this in the podcast format so that you can visualize? So if you're listening to this and you are a client, don't worry about that. Now you're going to get a clear picture of how we're explaining things. And if you are not a client, then you might say, well, this all makes sense. So let's get the picture. A pathway. So imagine, if you would, a roadway, a pathway. Might think of like one of those little curvy paths going through the woods. And in the pathway I have in my mind when you're thinking about retirement is you can look down, there's lots of trees, you look down the pathway and there's a curve. And what that means is you don't know what's on that part of the pathway. You can only see but so far. And then you make the turn and you go, oh, I see where I'm headed. And maybe you see something else along that. And then there's a turn another way and you go, well, where are we headed to now? And that is kind of how we envision this idea of getting ready for and living through retirement, is this pathway that we're going on, but we're hitting things. We're getting to a point where we go, I don't know the answer to this, because there's so many different things, so many different elements. I mean, it's not just investments. That's what we've been trying to tell people now for a number of years, because go back 25 years ago, I was all investments. Now, Merce and I together for 13 of those years have really worked to say it's more than investments. And today it's building a retirement-focused financial plan. It's dealing with an income plan. It's dealing with investments. It's dealing with taxes. It's dealing with all the different elements around Social Security and healthcare and estate planning. It's so many different moving parts there that we really wanted to say, how do we get down that pathway? And it is not a come in and 15 minutes later, we've got this figured out. So we're going to take you through basically building a roadmap, getting a guide, if you would, to say, how do I get down the pathway? And then how do I implement that? And then how do I nurture it? So we can't do all this in one podcast. All right. So I hope you understand the picture and you understand why we've called it the peace of mind pathway. And then we're going to now break down some of those different elements. So the first thing is we got to get some guidance how to get down the pathway. Maybe there's multiple, I don't know, that you come down and there's a Y in the pathway and I could go this way or I could go this way. How do I know which way to go? How do I make a decision? So Merce, if you kind of want to now take a setup and let's just deal with this first part of it. How do I get a guide? What do we call it? What does it look like so that we can start trying to get down this pathway?
Yeah. So the pathway itself has three major components that Raiden kind of started to allude to. And what we're talking about today in today's episode is we're focusing on component number one, part number one, which is the peace of mind roadmap. Component number two and three are going to come in following episodes. Number two is implementation. We're going to go deep dive on that, and then the third is peace of mind nurture. All three of these together combined create this pathway that we're talking about as far as how do we make this successful, this idea of retirement. So today's focus, again, we're building that roadmap. And what does that really look like? Well, the roadmap starts from really just getting to know who you are and what you're looking for and what your goals are. And so a lot of times we have, on this podcast, we'll have people that are interested and have been listening to us for years at this point. The podcast started back in 2020. It's hard to even believe that as we sit here in 2025. And, people have been listening to us for a while. Eventually they get comfortable enough with us. They feel like they know us and they will set an appointment or they watch us on YouTube, or they come to one of our educational events, or some of their friends or clients, and they get referred over to us. So there's a handful of avenues as to where someone comes into our fold. But once they come into our fold and become, wanting to understand who we are, how we take care of our clients, and what is it we actually do here, it all starts with that roadmap. So it starts with this idea of an introduction type of meeting, very I would say laid back but serious at the same time. You're here for a reason, and we do a very specific job, which is help you try to figure out what retirement's going to look like for you. So in that introductory meeting, we're trying to get to know you. In most cases, we've asked you to fill out a document that helps us understand some of your financials, understand some of your goals, understand what you've done thus far to prepare for retirement. We call that our confidential financial snapshot. And there's a bunch of yes and no questions on there. There's a bunch of open-ended questions on there. It's really, when I say a bunch, it's a two-page document. So still we keep it simple and high level, but that gives us a nice basis of conversation to understand every little thing we can about you. In that 30 to 45-minute meeting, we're asking questions to get clarification. You're asking questions to understand us more and more as far as our general philosophy. How do we operate? Where do we hold money at when it comes to the investing side? What does a financial plan look like? And so in that meeting, there's clarity that's immediately starting to happen. There's clarity around, what a relationship with us looks like. What is it we actually do here from the aspect of building out a plan, a retirement focused financial plan? What is that? And at the end of this visit, again, it's 30 to 45 minutes. On both sides of the table, we have to make a decision of, hey, we've spent some time together. We kind of know each other to a good degree at this point, and we both have to ask each other, do we think that we are on path to being a good fit for each other? Not making a decision on becoming a client yet, but do we think we're on the right path to being a good fit for each other? So on our side, as the advisor, we're saying, hey, do we think we can truly add value to what this person in front of me is looking for? On your side, you kind of have to say, hey, do I like who I'm talking to, right? Personability is very important, and comfort is very important in these scenarios, and also trust. So am I getting that feeling, that good feeling of, hey, this is pretty cool? Do I like the strategies? Do I like the philosophy? If so, we both agree there, then we go on to a following visit, which is way more focused, really specialized, really personalized to you. We call that our personalized planning meeting. So I just took you through on a high level the personalized introduction meeting, which is really step one in that roadmap building process. And then there's some things that happen in between. And then we go to this follow-up visit, which we call the personalized planning meeting. So, Raiden, you want to kind of walk through that?
Well, before I do, I kind of want to use another illustration that we like to talk about, and I think this kind of helps you visualize what we're trying to do. And so this roadmap, I mean, everybody, today, I mean, if you probably remember actually having a map, but today, very few of us actually have a physical map. A lot of times we use a GPS, and most of us understand the concept of a GPS. I put in where I want to go, and I know where I'm at today. So I have my starting point, I know where I'm at today, and I got my ending point of where I'm trying to get to. But within that GPS, I'm able to make some decisions because I'm in control of where and how I'm going to go down this journey that I'm headed on. I can say things like avoid highways. Um, I could tell it to only go on the back roads. I could tell it that I want to make a stop or two on the way, so I could put that into the system. The nice thing about a GPS system is if I do put in my destination and I start on my journey, the cool part about the GPS is that it will actually reroute me if there's something along the way that it sees. It's going to bring that up and it's going to tell me, hey, there's a problem there. So the way we feel about it is that we're kind of like the retirement pathway, if you want to call it, GPS guide. Our team, we are the GPS, right? So you tell us, that's that meeting that Merce was just talking about. We're getting a very, very clear picture as to where you're at right now. We also want to know where you want to go. And those are different things. Somebody might say, look, I have traveled vastly in my work years. I don't want to travel anywhere anymore. Here's what I want to do. I want another home. I'd like that to be at the beach. I want it to be at the mountains, whatever that might be. And here's where I want to live out. That's a whole different destination than somebody who comes up and says, I was so busy working. I never got to go anywhere. And so we have some significant vacations that we want to do. We want to explore. That's a whole different path. We've had folks that have come in. We think about this all the time, where they come in and they said, I want to travel in an RV." Whole different path than the others. So we are the GPS. We're the team that says, okay, we are here. You want to get here. How do we get there? And what stops do you want along the way? We also, as a team, have the mechanisms in place that if we see things, we bring it to your attention and we do reroute. So I wanted you to get that picture, right? So meeting number one is clearly understanding exactly where you are right now and where you'd like to go. And that's you might change your mind, by the way, where you want to go. So now we know that the team goes to work and they start building the routing. They start looking and saying, hey, here's where we want to go. Are we going to be able to get there? I guess that's firstly the really big question is, how do I know that I can actually get there? So when you come back in on the second visit, you're going to sit down with at least two certified financial planners, and they're going to walk you through and say, we have done a very detailed analysis of what you've told us, and you can or cannot reach your destination based on all the parameters that you gave us. And so if it is a can, well, then it's easy, and we just you get the confidence in knowing you can make it. And then inevitably in that meeting, a lot of times people go, well, hey, what if I take another path, right? So we might go through that and they go, wow, I'm going to make it to the end of retirement and have tons of money left over. What if I traveled a little bit more? What if I did go ahead and do that second home? So we adjust right on the fly. We can actually adjust now because we have all the parameters in. We can adjust and say, wait a minute, absolutely you can do that. What if the person, though, comes in and based on all the things they told us, when we look at it, we say, you can get to the end, but it's a little tight. So then what we can say is, what are some adjustments that we can do? And maybe that adjustment is you work 2 more years. Maybe that adjustment is you spend a little bit less. Maybe that adjustment is you go ahead and retire from the stressful job that you're in right now and you do some part-time consulting. All of those you're watching your GPS, your retirement, peace of mind retirement team, working that GPS, making sure that it's aligned. And now this is what I love out of this particular visit. It is the time where people have the most peace of mind because they get to see it and they go, wow, I actually have a plan. I actually have direction. I can see the path. I know I now can make it, or I know what I need to do to make it. And that is just one of my favorite appointments. When we get together and they see how this has all come together, I get excited about that one because I know that one's going to be such an eye-opener. I've done so many of them for the last 20 years that I just have seen it every time. The stress goes down, the peace of mind comes into play. So now we've got this thing built, right? And we kind of got it, but we've got one more step that we want to do still in this roadmap area. And that's really when we come back for a third visit. And at this point, we're really kind of starting to talk a little bit about some of the strategies that we would need in order to do it. So if you want to walk through kind of how that looks, because this is the one step prior to the next one, which is our implementation.
Yeah, so we've had our introduction meeting at this point. Raiden just walked you through a bit of that planning meeting, kind of getting putting it on screen, understanding here's where we are, here's where we're going. Does it work out? Do we need to make adjustments? And when we're all on board with that, then we talk, well, how do we actually have strategy around this to make this plan work? It's kind of like if we don't know where we're gonna go, so say you're getting in the car, you're packing for a trip, but you haven't decided where you're going yet. How do you pack? You put a little bit of everything in the car, and it may or may not make sense, but you got a bunch of stuff, right? If we know where we're going, then we can pack accordingly for it. That's really what strategy ends up being, is if we know where we're going, we know what our goals are, we know when we want to retire, we know it's possible. Now we can build a thorough strategy around it. And the strategy is all involved in a handful of elements around your investment strategy. That is a big piece of it, but it's not the only piece of it. So on the investment strategy, if you've been listening to us, we talk heavily about this concept of buckets. We're not going to go into it today, but it's really having a balance of growth assets and safe assets, and putting those two together. It controls risk. It also controls our ability as far as our withdrawal strategies, which is the next piece that comes together. Is, hey, we're going to need to start pulling this money at some point when we do retire. Where are we going to pull it from? And so that the withdrawal strategy goes hand in hand with our investment strategy, which then you build up all these different types of assets, right? All these different things that we're packing in the car are all going to have different taxation. So we start to think through your tax strategy for what the year is going to look like when it's taxation, but also long-term tax strategy as far as what are our goals for taxation. Do we want to do Roth conversions? Do we want to leave a tax-free legacy behind? And having those deeper conversations. We also want to make sure where we're at from a healthcare perspective. When we start having those conversations around if we're retiring early, let's make sure we think through the pros and cons of that when it comes to healthcare, because you don't qualify for Medicare until 65. When you do hit 65, you got to know exactly what we're doing with Medicare. On that point, by the way, we have a specialist in office that those are the only conversations he's having is all around medical, pre-Medicare and post-Medicare, to kind of narrow all that down for our clients. And then giving strategies when it comes to charitable giving, and how we want to do that to take advantage of tax law. Definitely, if you're in the mindset of giving, give, but let's do it in the right way so that everyone benefits from it. So that's just a handful of things that happen in that strategy meeting. We start talking about that. And so by the end of this process here of designing this roadmap, we've got a really good concept, and hopefully we've got a really good direction as far as, can I do what I have been saving forever to do, which is enjoy this element of a comfortable, exciting, fun retirement, and whatever that means to you.
All right. Well, we hope this has at least given you this idea. You can conceptually see what it kind of looks like to go down this idea of being confident while you plan for and live in retirement. We always are open if you want to ever have a conversation with us. It's very easy to do so. You can go to our website, which is pomwealth.net, and you're able to schedule a phone call with us. We'll answer any questions that you might have and walk you through this process more personalized for you. As we said in the outset, in our next episode, we're going to talk about now, how do we implement? So we built this whole thing out. We have a whole roadmap right now. We've looked at it from the goals. We've looked at it from the does it work? We've now looked at some strategies around how to make it all work. And so now it kind of comes down to, well, then if I want to implement, what does that look like? So in the next episode, we're going to go all through implementation. We hope to see you there. We hope you have enjoyed this episode of Secure Your Retirement. If you would like to learn more, we have actually created an online course called 3 Keys to Secure Your Retirement. This video course helps you to think through all the different steps as you get ready to plan for and live throughout retirement. You can access this by going to our website, pomwealth.net. In addition, you can also subscribe below to our podcast called Secure Your Retirement.
For more retirement tips, check out these videos. Also, if you find them valuable, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a like.